So what I want to kind of highlight is, while Gen AI is nothing new, it's been around AI is nothing new, it's been around since 1950. But with the advent of Gen AI, you can see how things proliferated, right? If you look at last 2 years back, we just had a bunch of models from OpenAI, and we can see the cost versus the performance metrics for that. And in the last 2 years, it just exploded, right? We have multiple models from OpenAI. There is Meta coming with some really good models. There's Google with a lot of things on Gemini. People are going bananas on the new visual modeling tool as well. So what does it give us? It gives us phenomenal amount of choice. Now, one interesting aspect is when Andreessen Horowitz, the VC company, they did a research of about 70 companies in the Fortune 500 list. Almost 93% of them use more than 3 models, right? This is Fortune 500, so don't get jittery if you're not there yet. But I just want to look at the astonishing statistics, right? 30%, almost 29% of the companies are using more than 5 foundational models. When we move into the realm of AI first differentiation for Microsoft, this is our philosophy. It's a very powerful triad. It's a powerful triad of 3 things coming in together. First is I'm probably blocking the view. Yeah. The first thing is the agents, which is basically the autonomous reasoning capability agent, which can actually augment a lot of things humans could do. It is not just in a supporting function. It is probably doing things for you just like a coworker would, right? So that's the agents for you. The second is the Copilot, which is, like Satya always keeps saying, Copilot is a new UI for AI. So Copilot is context-aware conversational agents where you can interact with the underlying data. For a lot of customers, this is the first adoption of AI. It's easy, simple, like the gentleman in the panel said. It can sit on your email inbox, draft emails for you, come back after a vacation and say, hey, what the heck happened when I was not there, right? So that's the Copilot component. The third is the most crucial component. This is the human ambition, which is actually the why behind the tech. Why are we doing? What is the purpose of what we're doing? What is the strategy behind what we're doing? So put together, this is the combination of what we define as the AI first differentiation, and organizations that have been able to adopt this journey and lean in on this 3 pillars have been able to build significant competitive differentiators in the recent times. Since we launched OpenAI on Azure, we got close to about 21,000 customers working with us, and some of them are truly path-breaking, and the essence of what we've seen in these customers is what we distill into our AI first differentiation. Now let me come to my favorite topic, which is developers. So developers are at the heart of transformation. Why? Because it is very obvious, right? You code in Java, you code in .NET, you code in Python, you code in a bunch of language. There's a standard to doing things. It is not susceptible to regional language interpretations. It's fairly straightforward. So the impact that we've been having on developers, for developers on AI is quite significant. Now, before I move into the AI part of it, just want to do a placeholder on what we do at Microsoft from the developer standpoint. We got 2 unique set of portfolios. One is the Visual Studio platform, which has got close to about 50 million monthly active users. And then the GitHub platform, which is the world's largest team sports, as the earlier GitHub CEO Thomas Dohmke used to say, which has got about 150 million developers. Am I audible? Yes, right, okay. Now this cuts across 2 spectrum, right? The first spectrum is enabling individual developers, how I can come to an IDE, start coding, start building my projects, start building what I would want to, which is write code, test and integrate from an IDE standpoint. And second is from the team collaboration standpoint, where GitHub can look at everything from how do I do my entire release management, CI/CD and platforms, right? So these are 2 fundamental offerings what we have in our realm. Now let's look at how this changes or how this gets augmented by AI. So when we first launched the AI offering, which is the GitHub Copilot, we had a scenario wherein you can start typing things and the AI will tell you the next part of the line, right? It's kind of code completions. So we call it as the first gen, where human works, AI suggests. The second was a little more interesting, wherein I got a new project. I inherited a bunch of code. I don't know what the heck it does. I can actually ask Copilot, hey, what does it do? So he can actually tell you, or even create documentation for you, create translations for you. That's the second part wherein human asks and AI answers. Very popular use case, we see a lot of them because it's good for generating test cases, documentation, upgrading some of those, I would say, deprecated files and things like that. We are right now in the Gen 3 from a agentic standpoint, wherein humans and AI are collaborating together. We got agents coming up to do specific tasks. For example, we have technologies wherein I can say, I want to migrate this Java 7 application to Java 21. The Copilot can go and create a plan for you, a migration plan. It can kind of look at the deprecated operators, upgrade the code, and then show it to you for your human approval before it pushes to production, right? So this is the spectrum that would be already right now. Now, one interesting aspect is we moved from the paired programming to peer programming, right? So AI is now a peer to us. It was not a pair to us, right? So that's the fundamental shift that is happening. Let's take the next few minutes to understand how this is going to evolve over the next few years, or next 2 years, I would say, and what are the things that we should be keeping in mind from a guardrail standpoint. So one interesting aspect is from an overall AI standpoint, when we did a trial on GitHub with Google, Google, instead of doing very complex tasks, was able to get about 21% faster task completion by having developers enabled with AI. What this means is faster time to ship, significantly faster time to ship. This is a MIT Sloan, research that we did, or they did. They could get results of close to about 26% faster throughput for developers using AI. This also leads to significant developer experience. Now, on the right is a very interesting graph. Can anyone take a guess on what that is on the right side? You're pretty much there. This is the actual Microsoft and GitHub internal code commit statistics on who is committing the maximum number of, or contributing the maximum number of code into the GitHub repository of Microsoft. We call ourselves as customer zero. So the number one committer of code in our internal repository is Copilot coding agent. Far more than many of the humans out there. Number 3 committer of code is Copilot code review agent, right? We're already seeing that adoption, right? Now, this is what Satya also said in one of the earlier meetings, that almost 35% of the code in Microsoft is generated by AI, and this includes the GitHub team as well. Now, this all goes wonderful. This is a great thing. Now, the challenge we find at times is with the increase in the amount of code that is getting generated, we also have a significant increase in the challenges that comes in, because we got a human who has to review all that code that is getting generated by AI. We have to have a scenario wherein a developer is looking at verifying this code. There is a human in the loop. There is aspects to look at from a governance standpoint. Now the challenge is if you're not able to scale your I would say the guardrail mechanism in line with the scaling of the AI, that is number one challenge. Other aspect I would like to highlight is we have a significant obsession on code generation component, which actually is only 20% of what a developer does, right? If you look at the overall day in a developer, 20% is the time that he codes. Remaining 80% is on planning, securing, governing, managing, integrating. So what we need to do is ensure that AI is part of the entire spectrum of that activity and not just an afterthought to come in at the end of it to ensure that we have that validation at the end of it. Now, the risk of not doing that is with the proliferation of AI, I just want to put one more statistics. We have globally close to about, I think, 22 million developers, enterprise developers, as of 2022. Now, as of 2025, that number is 37 million developers. It is projected that this will go to 45 million developers by 2030, of which almost half of them will be in India. What does that mean to us, right? We have, diverse set of developers. We will be able to do a lot more work. We will be able to do a lot more, code shipping. And these folks are going to leverage AI. Now, if you're not able to ensure that we put that necessary guardrails and the processes in place for the entire spectrum of AI, the AI adoption will become AI volatility. Okay? So that is one of the guardrails and aspects that we keep highlighting. Now, let me also give you a vision of how things are evolving in the next 2 years, because this also presents us an opportunity to address some of these. So as you earlier saw, we moved from a human first to a human plus agents. Now we are getting onto the phase 3 from an overall standpoint where we have teams plus agents. What that means is we will have a human defining a particular project, defining what needs to be done. The agent comes in. Let's say the project is all about migrating a particular code from an older version to a new version. The agent comes in, it kicks in, it kind of converts the code, it does unit testing, it brings a human back into the loop, validates, it pushes into production, right? So that's a scenario what we are seeing right now. The phase 4, which is probably in my view about a year or two away, is something very interesting, wherein what we would see is we would have multi-agent orchestration. Imagine a world wherein we can have a brainstorming agent which can actually brainstorm what needs to be done for a particular problem that we want to solve, create potential options on or different options on what could be done, and the brainstorming bot hands over that task to the planning bot. The planning bot understands the requirement, creates a definitive plan on what needs to be done, and then comes the coding agent, which is already there, by the way. Coding agent can actually create the code, do the unit testing, and then hand it over to the security and control agent, which kind of ensures that based on GDPR regulations, is my code compliant, based on the FedRAMP and the security practices or HIPAA, whatever the standard regulations that I need to comply with, is my code compliant. Bring the human into the loop, validate that, push it into production, and that is when the SRE agent kicks in, which is also, by the way, already live. SRE agent can ensure that your telemetry from a production standpoint is matching with what has been put in practice, raise support tickets for something that is not working or having as an anomaly, and the whole loop kicks in backwards. So from the SRE agent, it can actually take a feedback loop all the way back into the software cycle where the coding comes in. This is an infinite loop of getting things done. Now, just want to take a pause over here and think about this. Typically what happens is we want to solve a problem, we brainstorm, we create one solution based on what we think is going to work, we build it, launch it, takes a few months to realize it works or it doesn't work. Why we do it? Because we have finite resources at our disposal, finite number of developers, finite number of systems, cost of failure is also there. Now imagine if you're taking that out of the equation with the agents or the phase 4 of the agents, right? You can actually have agents build 5 different solutions for the same problem, take it through the entire cycle, understand how each of that particular options behaves, and then decide which one is the optimal, what do you have, what do you want to do, right? This is the future. This is not sci-fi. The foundation of this is already in place, right? Trust me when I say this, because this is the evolving product roadmap. It's not there yet. Parts of this in bits and pieces are, not all of it, but this is the vision that we are getting into. And this, this is a reality, right? There's no getting away from that fact. Just want to kind of wrap up with one single slide to show what we are at current stage, which is the stage 3, like I mentioned, wherein we have in the create phase of development where agent Agent mode comes in for modernizing certain applications. And on the collaboration phase, we got certain agents like coding agents, coding review agents, testing agent, and security agent. These are still not autonomous and still not, fully reasoning and fully looped in. That's where the phase 4 comes in. And lastly, we have SRE agents, which can actually look at apps in production, understand what is happening. It pretty much works like an SRE agent would do in terms of raising support ticket when things don't work. Go to a Jira support ticket, pick it up. Go to a ServiceNow, pick it up. Create a system in an SRE document for something that is already recurring as a problem. Yeah, so this is a quick nutshell of what we are doing and what we envisage things to happen.